What's up guys, today I explain you a complete timeline of Jujutsu anime. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe this channel, because we are close to hit the 1200 followers and now have fun with the video. Jujutsu Kaisen is one of the best manga of the modern day era, landing several nominations and awards soon after its release. JJK has also become one of the most popular shonen anime to date. Jujutsu's realm of jujutsu sorcerers has impeccable world building, but it also follows a complicated storyline. The main storyline starts with Yuji Itadori's introduction in 2018, while the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie takes place before the current timeline and focuses on Yuta, Maki, Panda, and Inumaki's backstories. The JJK lore isn't straightforward, as Akutami has scattered pieces of important information throughout the story that are gradually unraveled in each arc. Although the chronological order of watching Jujutsu Kaisen is fairly simple, the actual timeline of the events is not. The story goes as far back as the medieval era, which is considered the time period before the official beginning of the Jujutsu Society. Here's a complete Jujutsu Kaisen timeline according to the events and details revealed in the anime. Updated on September 11, 2024. By J. Arvind, the Jujutsu Kaisen manga will end with chapter 271, which is supposed to be released on September 30, 2024. The end of this story doesn't mean the end of its anime adaptation, which needs multiple seasons to cover everything that's happened since the Shibuya incident. Given the sheer complexity of the JJK timeline, we have updated this article with some more relevant information. Jujutsu Kaisen hasn't gone into the details of the beginning of Jujutsu Society to a great extent, but it does offer a rough timeline. At the start of the 8th century CE, the Nara period began with Master Tengen establishing a stable system for promoting the fundamental values and morals of Jujutsu. Tengen laid the foundation of the Jujutsu Society and spread Japanese Buddhism throughout the land, which also became the basis for the formation of the Time Vessel Association. The country experienced decades of peaceful sorcery that also kick-started the golden age of Jujutsu. It was a time when sorcery was at its peak, and Jujutsu sorcerers became the epitome of greatness, protecting the people and advancing their cursed techniques. Although things were relatively prosperous in this era, a rift started to form between believers that paved the way for future infighting and conflicts, and Sukuna's arrival only made things worse. Ryomen Sukuna's exact birth date isn't known, but he's over 1,000 years old. He was born to unknown parents and eventually developed into a curse user, or a sorcerer who uses jujutsu for negative reasons. Sukuna gained infamy during the Heian era, at the peak of the Golden Age, by massacring nearly every sorcerer who dared to challenge him. One of his most devastating accomplishments was the utter destruction of 5 empty generals as well as the Sun, Moon, and Star squads belonging to the northern Fujiwara clan. Following this, others attempted to appease the King of Curses by worshipping him during the Harvest Festival. Interestingly, the mythological Ryomen Sukuna was also supposedly worshipped as a deity, so mangaka Akutami is clearly establishing a connection between the two. That said, Sukuna's death remains just as mysterious as his birth. It is currently unknown if he died of old age or injuries, but Kenjaku managed to make a deal with him before his death. In fact, it was Kenjaku who split Sukuna's soul into his 20 fingers, making just as many cursed objects. Several ancient sorcerers and legendary clans are born during the Nara and the Heian eras, including Gojo and Yuta's ancestors and the Zenin clan. However, at the beginning of the Sengoku period, the audience was introduced to the evil JJK villain Kenjaku. It was during this time that he set the main foundations for his plan, which he would see come to fruition after roughly 400 to 500 years. Although Kenjaku initially succeeded in killing both the Star Plasma Vessel and the Six Eyes of that time, they were again reborn just before the time of Tengen's merger. At this point, Kenjaku understood that no matter the era, the holder of the Six Eyes would always spoil his plans, and he went on a long mission to search for the prison realm. This was also the time when great clans like the Gojo and the Zenin came face to lay claim to their supremacy over one another. However, the era ended with the loss of the Six Eyes, who was also the last one to be born until Satoru Gojo. With Kenjaku absent from the scene and the great clans losing their leaders, the land was hurled into the new era, and Japan made its way toward the Industrial Revolution. Between 1860 and 1912, Several key events take place in the story, including the arrival of one of the most notorious sorcerers in history, Noritoshi Kamo, who also created the 9 death painting wombs. The Heisei era started with one of the most important events in Jujutsu Kaisen's history, the birth of Satoru Gojo. Satoru was the first sorcerer to be born in over 400 years with both 6 eyes and the limitless. His birth heralded the silent rule and superiority of the Gojo clan by shocking the others into submission. Even the incomparable Toji Fushiguro felt a chill run down his spine after being observed by a very young Gojo. It was revealed during the Shibuya incident arc that Satoru Gojo's birth tipped the balance of the world and ushered in an era where his existence threatened every cursed user and spirit. From 1989 to 2001, several key characters were born, including Suguru Gato, Riko Amanai, Yuta Akotsu, and Toji Inumaki. These characters would go on to become the catalysts that would set the events of the anime's current timeline. Much like Harry, Ron, and Hermione in Harry Potter, the golden trio of Jujutsu Kaisen consists of 2 boys and 1 girl, Yuji, Megumi, and Nobara. Yuji was born in early 2003 to Jin and Kori Itadori. A flashback scene reveals his grandfather Wasuke chiding his son for staying with that woman, setting the stage for something quite gruesome. It is presently unknown what happened to Jin and Kori, as Wasuke ended up raising Yuji all by himself. Meanwhile, Megumi's birth in 2002 was accompanied by zero fanfare, as his mother was unknown and his father was a Zenin in self-imposed exile. When he was only 3 to 4 years old, Gojo killed his father Toji Fushiguro, who revealed Megumi's existence before passing away. As a result, Gojo ensured that Megumi and his sister Fumiko would be cared for by Jujutsu High. Born in 2002, Nobara's early years were uneventful, although GJK does highlight her emotional backstory. As shown in anime series often focus on the male heroes, Nobara was unfortunately removed from the equation during the Shibuya incident. That said, fans are hoping that she returns and plays a major role in the story's final battle, which is only fair to ask.